Tom had always been a skeptic. He was the type of person who believed that most acts of kindness were just for show. He thought that celebrities were nothing more than self-serving individuals, only pretending to be kind to boost their image. So, when he overheard a group of people talking excitedly about a surprise appearance by Keanu Reeves at a local charity event, he couldn't help but scoff. "He's just doing it for publicity," Tom muttered under his breath, dismissing the idea that Keanu Reeves could be anything more than another self-centered Hollywood actor. Little did he know that day would change everything. Tom worked as a mid-level manager at a small tech firm where he felt the weight of his daily responsibilities. He'd spent years climbing the corporate ladder, only to realize that the more he achieved, the emptier he felt. He felt disconnected from people, especially the ones who worked under him. His world had become a cycle of meetings, emails, and an overwhelming sense of loneliness. But it didn't matter to him. He had long ago shut off the desire for real connection. On his way to the charity event, a mix of curiosity and disdain bubbled inside him. He had no interest in charity work, but the idea of seeing Keanu Reeves in person, if only for a moment, was too tempting to resist. As he arrived at the event, he found himself in a crowded room of people, many eager to catch a glimpse of the man they adored. The buzz of excitement was palpable, but Tom just stood at the back, arms crossed, skeptical of the whole thing. He leaned against the wall, trying to blend into the background, watching as people took selfies and gossiped about the actor. Then, out of nowhere, the crowd parted, and there he was, Keanu Reeves. Keanu wasn't in a suit, wasn't surrounded by security, and wasn't putting on airs like so many other stars. He was just there, a regular man with a quiet presence that commanded respect. He greeted people with a gentle smile, shook hands, and had time for everyone. Tom, who had never been one to idolize anyone, felt a strange shift in the air. But still, he didn't want to admit that he might have been wrong about the actor. As the night went on, Tom found himself in line at the bar, waiting for a drink. To his surprise, Keanu Reeves walked up to the bar beside him, casually ordering a drink like anyone else. Tom froze for a second. He couldn't believe it. Here was a man who could have been anywhere in the world, surrounded by fans, yet he chose to stand here in the middle of a crowd of strangers, without any pretensions. Keanu glanced over at Tom and, noticing his unease, gave him a soft, friendly smile. "It's pretty wild, huh? All these people here for something bigger than themselves." Tom was taken aback. Was Keanu trying to make small talk? Could it be that this was the real Keanu? The one who wasn't just trying to sell himself to the world? Tom, feeling awkward, gave a small chuckle and replied, "Yeah, I guess so. I'm not really into all of this stuff, you know. I don't buy into the celebrity kindness routine." Keanu raised an eyebrow, his smile never faltering. "I get it. Most people think that way, especially in this industry. But, you know, kindness doesn't always have to be a grand gesture. It can just be a simple moment of connection." Tom blinked. He hadn't expected that response at all. It wasn't the usual defensive or dismissive reply he'd heard from others who were forced into these situations. Keanu's words hung in the air like a challenge. Over the next few days, Tom couldn't shake the memory of his conversation with Keanu. Something about it stayed with him. Maybe it was the way Keanu didn't try to convince him of anything, but instead offered a quiet, profound truth. That conversation, though brief, began to gnaw at him. What had he been doing with his life? Why had he pushed away so many chances for real connection? He'd always thought of kindness as something people did to get something in return, but Keanu had shown him otherwise. He hadn't needed anything from Tom. He had simply spoken words that made him pause and think. A few months later, Tom was walking through his office building when he saw a coworker, Sarah, visibly upset at her desk. Her face was flushed with frustration, and Tom could tell she was struggling. In that moment, A wave of understanding washed over him. He walked over to her and gently asked if she was okay. To his surprise, Sarah broke down, telling him about her struggles at home and how she felt overwhelmed by the pressure of work and life. In that moment, Tom realized something. Instead of brushing off her emotions, he could actually offer her support, a listening ear. He spent the next half hour talking with her, offering advice and a kind, understanding presence. That simple act made all the difference for Sarah, and for Tom, too. It was the first time in a long while he'd felt truly connected to someone. As Tom looked back on the encounter with Keanu Reeves, he realized the profound impact it had on his life. It wasn't just a chance meeting with a celebrity. It was the moment he learned that kindness wasn't just for the famous or the grandiose. It was something simple, human, and powerful. Keanu's words had opened his heart in a way he hadn't expected. From that day forward, Tom carried a piece of that encounter with him. He learned that kindness wasn't about changing the world with big gestures. It was about changing the moment for someone else, quietly and meaningfully. And that, he realized, was what truly made a difference.